What's up, Cowboy Nation and Cowboy Headquarters? It's your boy G, the number one Cowboy fan, Hampton, coming at you live, direct, and correct with some more news that you can use. And that's what I said, Mo news, M-O, not M-O-R-E. I said M-O, Mo news that you can use. Like I say, this is not a politically correct channel. This is where we come together in the Cowboy huddle and talk about our Cowboys. Now that the season is approaching, today's subtopic, let's say topic, is going to be the evaluation of Dallas versus Tampa Bay. Okay, but before we get started, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers for being a part of this channel. Basically, we're growing. We're still having some people to subscribe to the channel. It's a slow process, but we're growing. It just lets me know the true diehard Cowboy fans in this group. So again, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for going by and stopping by our social media page on Facebook, the Dallas Cowboy Huddle as well. And as you notice, the name of this group has been changed, the Cowboys Huddle as well. So probably say, well, what's going on? But yeah, it had to be done. So, but anyway, so let's get right off into this. And then what we're talking about today is we're talking about the game that's coming up this Thursday night, in which basically to be Dallas versus Tampa Bay, which is to be a nighttime game, and basically it's going to be okay. Yeah, it's marking. It's going to be a nighttime game. It's going to be the season opener. So I've been listening to a lot of different media out there, and everybody's talking about Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. Even some of the Cowboy channels. Basically, they're more concerned with Tampa Bay and not concerned about what we have to bring to the table, which I understand. So the question asks, well, why is everybody so scared of Tampa Bay? Well, let me tell you why. And I'm glad you asked. Number one, you have Tom Brady back there, okay? Also with Tom Brady's a 7-time Super Bowl winner. And one thing about Tom Brady, he basically make plays on the fly. Tom Brady is one that he connects with his receivers, and basically they're on the same page, and basically they read each other. They read the same thing that Brady reads. But not only that, but we can't take this game lightly. We don't know what's going to happen. But let me say this: it's about who can score the most points and who can keep the other team from scoring points. Basically, that's what it's going to boil down to. We have some top-notch receivers that's going to be out on this field, and on both sides of the ball. So basically, it's about who has the better defense. So now I'm not sure how we're going to implement Micah Parsons in this, but this is a big stage for Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons cannot get caught up on and fall for the bait against Antonio Brown, because Antonio Brown will be playing the slot. So not sure if they're going to have him. That's going to be a great matchup to see who plays against the guy in the slot. Now, personally, I would say basically you have Jordan Lewis in there or somebody, or Marquise Kennedy to match up. But I don't think our linebackers can match up with either one of these guys. So we're going to see some damn good coaching. That's what we're going to see, some damn good coaching in this game. And it's going to be a chess match. It's definitely going to be a chess match. Our offensive line definitely have to hold up. They cannot allow Dak to get hit. And we have to be able to hit Tom Brady. And that's not an easy task, because Tom Brady is one that can read and get the ball out of his hand. But I truly think that it's all about this defense on both sides of the ball, as far as for Tampa Bay and the Cowboys. So what I did, I got a couple of film sessions. One is we basically want to resource coming from the Cowboys room. I want to give the shout out to them for the film that they presented. Also, there's another video talking about the reason Mike Nolan's defense was so horrible. So we're going to compare the two. Cowboy Film Room is talking about the Dan Quinn, the Dan Quinn defense and what to expect. And we have Jackson Kruger from Sports Production. Give a big shout out to him for his video as well. So, but I want you guys to take a look at this and show you how this is going to play, and we're going to compare Mike Nolan's defense to Dan Quinn's defense. Okay, so I want you guys to take a look at this, and we're going to start off with let's start off with Jackson Kruger. Let me get this set up, guys, real quick. Yeah, we're going. Let's start with Jackson Kruger, man, and let's get into this real quick. I want you guys to see this, but here we go. This is basically what Jackson Kruger had to say about Mike Nolan's defense. So check it out.
Your regularly scheduled video. So the Cowboys defense is really, really, really bad. You don't really need me to tell you that. You can just look at the numbers. You can just watch the games. You'll clearly know that this defense is not playing good football. But what I find interesting about it is why they're not playing good football. To me, it is 100% coaching, and there's no doubt about it. Why do I feel like it's coaching? Well, because I watched the All-22 footage, and it's pretty obvious to tell. Let's just jump into it. I'll show why. We'll start things off with this play. It's going to be cover 4 zone here, and Seattle has a receiver running deep, which basically, the way this works against quarters coverage, there's going to be 4 defenders deep, and you kind of just try to run in between 2 of their zones. This is actually something that's weirdly happened a lot this year, something I've weirdly talked about a lot this year. I'm not sure why it's been so frequent, but basically the idea is that since there's multiple players in the area, since someone runs deep, sometimes neither one of those 2 guys will pick up the receiver who is running deep. I've compared it to like when someone gets hurt in a crowded area. Sometimes no one calls the police because everyone just assumes somebody else is going to do it, but wonders, one person gets hurt and there's only one other person in the area, they usually rush to help that person. It's kind of a similar concept where sometimes it's a bad thing to have so many people in the area, and it's always a bad thing when those players are Dallas Cowboys. Watch how once this play starts, you're going to notice that, player running a deep route, and there are 3 Cowboys who could make this play. Now, let's just take them one at a time. First, we'll start with the one that's on the uppermost of the screen. The one that's supposed to be covering the topmost section of the field, the sideline to Russell Wilson's right. He's kind of in a bad position because, if he's the only one who covers the Seattle player, it's going to be difficult for him. Because the Seattle player is going to run over the middle, and therefore it's kind of a bad angle if he it's very easy because of the way that they're not totally together laterally. So you would need some help. So one of the other 2 Dallas players should help, and you'd think that the second uppermost one would be the one to do it, the one in the middle, because the one at the bottom, he still doesn't have to worry about another Seattle in the area. Plus, he's kind of way far over. So you'd think the other safety is going to run over and help. He's going to stay deep. That's what he should do. However, for God knows what reason, he decides to stop. And of course, the other Dallas player did as well. And so this just leads to an easy touchdown. And it's just bad communication. And there's no excuse for bad communication when there's nobody in the stands, because you can actually communicate on these plays. But regardless, you shouldn't have to be communicating mid-play. You should already know what you're supposed to do on each of these plays. And I'm telling you, this is not an isolated incident. You will see this 100 times over with the Cowboys watching their games. They've been abysmal. Nobody understands their assignment, and to me, it does go down to coaching at the end of the day. I mean, they have a lot of young players, but they're just not well coached.
Now that's what we're seeing as far as what we saw with Mike Nolan, okay? This is what we saw with Mike Nolan. And basically, like he said, then like I say, big shout out to Jackson Kruger. We appreciate him providing that video, because it basically breaks down what is going on with what was taking place with our defense last year. Poor coaching. That's what it boils down to. So now this next one is from the Cowboys film room, and big shout out to him for providing this video, because basically this is something that we can expect from Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn basically has a different philosophy. He has a different type of theory on his take on his defensive scheme. And you got to remember that Dan Quinn come from that Legion of Boom type defense. So we're gonna let the Cowboys film room talk a little bit about what we got here. So let's check this out, okay? Check it out. Let's see what we got.
Getting into the pass coverage side of things when it comes to this 4-3 under scheme of Dan Quinn's. And as I mentioned a couple times before, cover 3 is going to be the look. Dan Quinn's defenses always rank at the top or near the top when it comes to cover 3 usage. And I think that is going to benefit our secondary extremely this coming season, and especially so in a couple guys, and I'll make that point real quick here. Starting off, I think Trayvon Diggs can be the Richard Sherman of our defense this year. Richard Sherman is very similar to Trayvon Diggs in that, one, in size, build, but also his instincts. What made Richard Sherman great was he was always getting his head around and making plays on the football, and we've seen flashes of that out of Trayvon Diggs in his rookie season. What also helped Richard Sherman do this, and why he was able to get his hands on the football so much, is because he was nearly half of the time in a cover 3 look and just dropping back off into a deep zone, just playing bump and run coverage. And so he didn't have to worry about Crabtree coming back downhill on this play. He knew he was just running with him because he had Malcolm Smith coming underneath to take this zone under here. So if Crabtree came back towards the line of scrimmage, then Malcolm Smith would be able to pick that up. Richard Sherman would still be able to account for his zone. So he knows, hey, I can just turn my head and run with him. I don't have to worry about keeping my eyes on his hips, watching him break or anything. I can just turn my head and run with him. And when the ball comes my way, I will be ready for it. And I think that is going to be huge for Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs was a guy we put in man coverage a lot this season, and he was still able to get his head around and make plays similar to that on the football, and even notched 3 interceptions on the year. So when we put Trayvon Diggs in this cover 3 look where he's just playing bump and run with the receiver, getting his butt down the field, I think he'll be able to get his head around even more and get even more interceptions and pass breakups in this upcoming season, and hopefully make some plays like this in the NFC Championship game. Another guy that I think will benefit from this Dan Quinn scheme is going to be Donovan Wilson, and I think he can be the Cam Chancellor of this defense this coming season. This is going to be another look that we're going to be getting into, I think, a decent amount this year, and that's when we go cover 1. I think we're going to be in a cover 1 robber look. So we're just going to be manned across the board, and then we're going to have the free safety drop off over the top, and then the strong safety, who would be Donovan Wilson in this case, come off underneath as the robber and be able to come down. And we know Donovan Wilson is that down the field, instinctual player making plays, and I think he'll be able to do something like this. So you'll see manned up across the board, snap ball drops off, comes down as the robber, sees across underneath, and then laying the wood. And I think this is something that Donovan Wilson can thrive in. We know he has that energy like Cam Chancellor, those instincts in that down the field, I'm coming for your head kind of mentality. And hopefully we can see him making plays like this in this new scheme. Getting into the
So there you have it, guys. I can see that. I can definitely see that. That is a prime example of what we want. I can truly see our Donovan Wilson acts like Cam Chancellor. He lowers the boom. He comes down here. He hits you hard, as you saw as he how he did against who was that? Dalvin Cook. So yeah. So this is what Dan Quinn's defense is going to look like. Basically a cover 3, and with your strong safety playing downhill and hitting anything that come up underneath. So this is the difference, when we kept saying, that's why I've kind of given a Jalen Smith a free pass because for the last season, because the defense was just that bad. But this year we'll see how that pans out for our linebacking core and see where what roles they play. But big shout out again to Cowboy Film Room for sharing that with us. And I agree. This is basically what it's going to boil down to. I think this is a better defense, and I see Trayvon Diggs playing something like a Richard Sherman. Now I'm a little bit concerned about on this other side with Anthony Brown. Hopefully he can do his part as well. But again, we have to get pressure on TB12, Tom Brady. We have to. If not, he's going to pick us apart. So, and I'm sure that Quinn's going to put together some type of blitz packages to keep Brady on his toes. So, and the good thing about this here, what we'll see is that we'll see something that we hadn't seen before with this Cowboys defense. So they have no film on what we're bringing to the table. So that'll be a good thing to see. You know, this will be their first look. So I'm sure Dan Quinn is putting something together that's going to be effective. But yeah, I'm excited. Again, this is basically going to boils down who has the best defense, and nothing taken away from Tampa Bay. But we got Randy Gregory on one side, we got Tank Lawrence on the other side, and then we got the interior. So we have to keep everything in front. We got to be able to hit Fournette. We got to be able to take him down. Got to lay hats on him as well. So it's going to be something good to see, and I'm excited to see how we prepare and how this chess game turns out. Okay, so, but also I was listening to Dak Prescott's interview, and on the other day, and you know they was asking him questions again, you know, ankle, shoulder, you know, how you feeling, all that stuff. But throughout the whole interview, one thing that caught my attention is how he said him and his receivers are on the same page. Sound like somebody I just mentioned earlier. Basically, be able to making adjustments at the line of scrimmage, being able to, you know what your receiver's going to do and what your running back's going to do, and the running backs and receivers knowing what your quarterback is going to do. Basically, this is the sign of a great quarterback, being able to read defense, not only yourself but your receivers and your running backs being able to read that same defense and being on the same page as far as, you know, what to do, or do we going to release, or are we going to slant, things like that. That's more like ad-libbing. Even though whatever the play is that's called, Dak is able to go up there and read that defense, and then be able to look over to his receiver, look at his running back, whisper his running back, and they know exactly what they're going to be able to do. You know, this is something that Peyton Manning has always done as a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has done as a quarterback. Tom Brady has done it as a quarterback. So hopefully, by him saying this, hopefully this is something that we will see, and I'm just hoping and praying that it works. But again, what this game is going to boil down to is who can score the most touchdowns and who can keep the other team from scoring touchdowns. It's going to be a great chess match. All right, guys. Appreciate you stopping by. You have a great Labor Day weekend, and be safe. Deuces.